Well, howdy, everybody. This is Clay.
I'm Lloyd.
And this is Iron Sharpening Iron with the Kahler Boys. Today is, what, 27th?
27th.
27th of June,
We're
Thursday.
I am getting close to my great-granddaughter's birth, man. Ought to be about middle of next month.
Yeah?
Yeah. I saw Chelsea the other day, and boy, she was like a basketball. Just so belly, just as tight as it could be. She got out of the car, and for a split second, it was Kristen.
Yeah.
I mean, they resemble each other a lot, but when she got out of that car,
you saw Kristen.
I saw Kristen
30 years ago.
Yeah, when Kristen, was having babies.
Isn't that something?
And it was just a wow moment,
So our boss Mindy, her grandbaby is due this month.
Yeah.
It could be any minute now. Any minute now.
Yeah,
Lila Ruth.
I told her, or I was talking to her about mine, and she was telling me about hers, and that's just an exciting time. My grandbaby's going to be named LaDasha.
Yeah. LA-A.
All capital letters, because she's important.
That's right.
And Chelsea's going to kill me if she sees this podcast. I'm just kidding. She's convinced that I'm going to call this girl LaDasha and confuse her into what her name is.
Yeah.
I will not do that until she's about 4 or 5, where we can visit about it. So,
where there's some back and forth.
Yeah, guess what Paul was going to do?
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, and guess how mad your mom was. So we're going to make your mom real mad. And I'm going to say, LaDasha, where are you? And you just come running out hollering, here I am, Paul.
Oh, that's good
that'll
stuff.
blow her up.
That's good stuff.
And see, she could watch this now, and she won't remember this in 4 or 5 years, but I will.
That's right. That's right.
I am patient. I am a deer hunter.
That is if we as a nation have 4 or 5 years.
Well, that's if we as Christians have it too.
Yeah. Scripture of the day.
What you got?
This is the tail end of what we studied last night at church. And it's a passage of Scripture. Well, it's in 2 Corinthians. Okay? And I am willing to wager, I'm not a betting man, but I'm willing to wager that the vast majority of Christians that are watching this podcast have not spent a dime's worth of time in 2 Corinthians. It's just one of those books that you don't spend time in.
Right.
And this passage is so profound and so overlooked. All right,
read it to us.
I built it up, didn't I? Better live up to it, huh? All right, listen to this. Paul says, first line, now thanks be to God who always leads us in triumph in Christ.
Amen.
Always. How often, Lloyd?
Always.
Always.
That doesn't mean sometimes.
No.
Part-time, almost.
If you're a child of God, if you've trusted in the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ,
he was there.
He will never leave you foundering in failure.
He kind of wasn't here today.
Yeah.
No, none of that.
None of that.
Always.
And
I love the way the Bible puts things in absolute terms.
I know it, man.
Absolute terms. There's no
gray area. Equivocation.
There's no gray area.
No.
There's not like, well, on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
or on the Sabbath. No, it's every day that ends in Y, and in other words, always. 24 hours.
The branding iron is closed Monday, Tuesday, and they open on Wednesday for a short little bit.
Mm-hmm.
God's never closed.
No.
Always.
And
I used an illustration on this when I was teaching it last night. I said, let's say, hypothetically speaking, that we've got a brother or sister that we love, part of our congregation, who's sick. And we're praying for God to heal them. And 3 months later, they pass away. God healed them.
Amen.
That's always.
Amen.
That is triumph. That is the greatest triumph.
You bring that up, and I was listening to a little bit of preaching last night. And one of the things it brought up is how Jesus was told the disciples, don't be troubled. Why are you troubled? What's wrong with you?
Let not your heart be troubled.
I already told you this was going to go on. And the only way I'm going to get to the Father and fulfill what my business is doing this.
To leave you behind.
You should be rejoicing.
That's right.
In where I'm going and what I'm doing. And yet they were still
because he was trailblazing for them.
He was still all troubled. Well, he was saving
Yes.
Entire everybody.
All right, let's get
and you know, but
yeah.
Don't be. Why are you upset?
Exactly.
Because he always will be there. You know, and even in that, this is their Messiah. He's fixing to get. They're going to beat him and kill him.
Yeah.
And these guys were very troubled. Which, man, that's a human reaction.
Oh, of course. Well, you know,
and that's what we are.
Yeah.
Is that human?
Yeah.
That human thing.
We've got a loved one who's in hospice, who knows the Lord, and we're grieving. We're heartbroken.
Selfishness.
We're heartbroken because we're going to miss them.
It's selfish.
Yeah.
I'm not being
100%.
ugly about it,
100%.
but that's what it is. It's that when you pass away, I know without a doubt that if you pass away before I do, that man, he beat me. You know,
yeah.
You know, and I know where you're at, and I'll have an unbelievable amount of comfort in that.
Right. It's grief mixed with joy.
I can't call you.
Yeah.
I can't pick that phone up and call you. When I'm looking through my phone contacts and I see your name because I still ain't deleted it yet.
Yep.
And I go,
Yep.
You know, and it's just sadness that I can't reach out and touch you.
Yeah.
I can't call and hear your voice. It's I.
Right. I go through that with Ray. You know, among many others.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So listen to this. That's just the first line. All right. Now, thanks be to God who always leads us in triumph. Listen to this. And through us diffuses the fragrance of his knowledge in every place. For we are, listen to this, to God, the fragrance of Christ. Stop right there. We are, to God, the fragrance of Christ.
As we're believers in spreading that word.
That's it. And what Paul is talking about here, he's alluding to is the sacrificial system. Because remember, when the sacrifices were burnt on the altar, it was referred to as a pleasing fragrance that rose up to the throne room of God.
Right.
We, to God, are the fragrance of Christ. And then he says this, for we, to God, are the fragrance of Christ among those who are saved and among those who are perishing. To the one, we are the aroma of death, leading to death. To the other, the aroma of life, leading to life. This is my favorite part. And who is sufficient for these things? We're not.
Yeah.
So we're not as so many peddling the word of God, but as of sincerity from God, we speak in the sight of God and in Christ. Paul says, to those that are perishing, we are a reminder of their judgment. That's why the world hates the church.
Right.
The world hates the church because we stand as a living monument to their failure.
And the world is run by the devil.
Well, yeah, of course it is.
It's run absolute by the devil.
Yeah.
That's, you know.
And we're constantly reminding him.
When the devil tempted Jesus, he offered him all the kingdom. You didn't see Jesus in the Bible say, well, it's not yours to offer, because it was.
It was, yeah.
It was.
And
still is his to
and
offer.
That's obvious today.
Woo, man.
So obvious today. It was obvious then.
Well, sure.
The Roman Empire, my gosh.
Sure.
As bad as we are, the Roman Empire was every bit as bad.
And it's been obvious since the fall of man.
Yeah.
It's been obvious. It's just been...
super powerful scripture.
Yes.
All right. So you know what's happening tonight, right? About 9 o'clock Eastern time.
We're going to have the fabulous, best talking, smoothest candidate ever.
Joe Biden.
Here we go. We got a preview of what's going to happen here. I didn't bring a different hat. I thought about it.
There's one right there.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Oh,
I got this old fishing hat. I should have grabbed it. It looked like something that Gilligan would wear.
Turn that one around backwards. There you go.
And it's going to go like this, see?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2024 presidential debate featuring Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
He was a bad dude. He was.
All right, question for Joe Biden. Go ahead.
All right, Joe Biden. Mr. Biden, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Mr. Biden?
Yes.
Your favorite flavor of ice cream?
I like ice cream.
Yes, you do.
I like ice cream. Yeah. All right. Now we're going to turn the tables. We got President Trump.
Yeah.
Mr. Trump, I'm going to ask you a question here pertaining to the border. So that's big on topic nowadays. What is your plan for the southern border? That's all the time we have, folks. That is all we got. Let's cut the mics. No fact check.
That's right.
That's probably about how it's going to go.
Well, it's going to be 3 against 1. You got 2 moderators and Joe Biden. And one of the moderators has referred to Donald Trump as Hitler.
It's more than that. Have you seen where CNN has reached out to major content makers and different platforms, including X? I've got a video of it. They've reached out and said you cannot use it, you can't live feed, and no fact checkers.
Oh wow!
And Elon Musk said, "I don't think so, Cat. Watch me work." It's going to be on X, simulcast on X with fact checkers.
Oh, good.
Non-biased fact checkers. And I watched a girl. She said CNN supposedly is going to have 29 fact checkers. If it's a fact, how many fact checkers do you need?
One
that has integrity.
Yeah, just one.
And when Joe Biden said, "Well, I was just getting eaten by cannibals and driving a truck and stopping the civil rights or marching with the civil rights movement," that's what I was.
Got arrested with Mandela.
And whooping corn pop. They can, say President Biden, that's not true.
Yeah.
That's false. Yeah.
But
when he says, when I took office, the inflation was, no, wait a minute, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was 1.7.
1.7.
I thought it was 1.9. Well, we could argue over
0.2.
Yeah. And I'd even
gas was $1.39. We can agree on that.
Now it's $3 here local. It's
$3.42 yesterday.
$3.89. $3.86.
I got it for $3.42.
I don't know where you
Sam's
got it.
Club.
Okay, but right here it's $3.86 at a 7-Eleven.
Insane.
I saw it last night in my travels for $3.77, but I'm running on full tank. So, but yeah, groceries.
I've been living in this house since October of 2016. Okay, I'm a renter. Love my house. Love my landlord.
Good folks, man.
Good folks. Such good folks.
Good for this community. They're not just good to you.
Yeah.
They're good to this whole community and have been for many years.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
I've been in this house since October of 2016, and my rent has never gone up until this year.
Well,
and it went up significantly.
My insurance went up significantly.
And that's exactly what it was.
Went up significantly.
Roy came to me and
I hate doing it.
He was heartbroken.
Sure.
He was heartbroken.
Hate doing it.
He says, I have to do this. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I was costing them money.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
go to the grocery store.
Oh man!
I saw some politician on there, and they were talking about the grocery. Some actual news reporter said, "What about the grocery prices? Y'all are saying the economy's good.
Yeah. Oh,
what about the
best economy ever?
Yeah.
In the history of the world.
What about our grocery prices?" She's like, "They're up significantly.
Yeah,
and continue to climb." And she said, "Now wait a minute. They plateaued out there for a little while. They went up 27%, and then plateaued out for a little while before they started steady, or not steady." But climbing up 27.1, 27.3, right. Not a lot. She's like, it's not climbing a lot now. It's still climbing, and it's so much higher than it was under Trump. I have a picture that it tells you all the gas prices and everything, inflation and everything. And the difference is so drastic, but yet they get up there and say, Kamala Harris says, well, you just hadn't been able to see what we've been doing.
Yes, I have.
We have.
Yeah.
I see it in my paycheck,
in my pocketbook.
In my pocketbook.
Every day.
I see it dude, yesterday I went to the store.
I go to Jimmy's Egg, and I get the same meal every time, and I have for years. Right. For those that don't know,
I'm a creature of habit.
Well, I'm a carnivore.
And a creature of habit, too.
I get the meat lover's omelet. I get crispy bacon and sausage patties. 3 years ago, that meal cost me $13 and some change. Right. I'd leave a 20 on the table and go. I wouldn't even wait for my check.
Right.
I'd just put a $20 bill on the table and walk out. Now,
that 20 gets you arrested.
That $13 that meal is now $22.
Yeah, that 20 will get you ready.
$22.
You lay that down and try to walk out, they get you for running off.
Yeah, dine and dash. Right. That's where we're at, man.
That's our economy.
And you can't see what we've done. Yes, that's the problem. I can see it clearly.
And another thing he's done, and
crime rate. The crime rate has gone down significantly.
Have you heard the latest spin they're trying to throw out there? That the migration,
yes,
that I call it, and as it should be called, the illegal migration, the illegal
immigration,
migration, occupation.
Yeah,
more like it.
There's a lot of Asians.
Has not done anything to significantly affect the crime rate.
Really?
Ask the families.
Really? Ask the family of that 13-year-old girl.
They asked that Congress lady.
Was beaten and raped.
They asked her about that girl. And she said,
2 hours.
It's not my district.
2
That
hours.
was her answer, Clay.
That's evil. That's evil.
That's evil.
That's evil.
It's not my district. She didn't have any compassion or thought at all.
This little girl was beaten and raped for 2 hours.
Oh, she's 13?
Before she died.
13 or 12? 12 or 13?
12 or 13. And the latest report I saw on it, when they found her body, she had skin under her fingernails and in her teeth. She was biting and scratching and fighting. 2 hours, they estimate.
It was torture. Horrible way to end a life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And such a young, promising age.
And nothing's going to happen.
Right.
Nothing's going to happen.
No telling what she would have accomplished.
Yeah.
What that young lady was capable of.
Yeah.
No telling.
Agreed.
No telling. She might have been the answer to, I don't know, a lot of problems. She might have had the notion to cure cancer.
Yeah.
She might have, I say it all the time, though.
Yeah.
God's already sent us a cure.
Yeah.
We aborted it. We murdered
Absolutely.
it. We just murdered it.
I want to share something.
Okay.
Without getting into details, for those of you that are new to the podcast or maybe just didn't know, my full-time job, I'm a private investigator, and a lot of it is mundane. A lot of it, a lot of what I do is not real. It's not Rockford Files.
No.
And by the way, if you don't know what Rockford Files is, you're just way too young.
Yeah.
You have missed out on the best of life.
Go look it up.
I'm telling you.
Get it straight.
Yeah, you can.
You can get all the seasons, and I'm like about halfway through it.
Yeah. It's not Rockford Files, but every now and again we get into a case that's that is definitely worthwhile, and we had one of those here recently. I want to share this story. We've got a client. It's a husband and wife, our client. And this guy has 2 kids with his ex-wife. And the ex-wife has kind of gone off the rails.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's a demonic attack.
Yeah.
It just is.
And they have shared custody. Well, every time he picks up the kids, the 2 kids, 7 and 10, from the ex-wife, they're exhausted. They're wearing dirty clothes, and they haven't eaten. And he and his wife hired us because they want to know what's going on.
Right.
And so Sunday, I got up at 7 o'clock on Sunday morning, went to church, did a baptism. Loved it.
God.
I'm telling you.
Praise God.
Preached the word. Took our mom and our sister to Jimmy's Egg, and we had a good meal. Get back home, piddled around the house for a little while. Waited until about mid-afternoon and then laid down to try to go to sleep. And I would drift off and a motorcycle would go down the road. Wide awake. I would drift off again, 18-wheeler coming up the road.
I am so glad.
Yeah.
I live on the road I live on.
Yeah, no doubt.
I live on a dead-end road.
Yeah. And I live on a freaking highway.
My house sits 4 yards off the dead-end road.
So finally... drift off again, and I hear this airplane. They're crop dusting, Lloyd.
Well,
they're crop dusting a half a mile away from my house.
You're not a half mile.
Not even a half mile.
Maybe shorter than that from road.
I'm willing to say
grain fields.
I probably got maybe an hour of sleep in 5 to 10 minute chunks.
Isn't that wonderful?
Oh gosh. Well, 9:30 that night, I am sitting on surveillance watching this woman's house because what we have deduced is that sometime in the middle of the night, she's leaving and she's taking these kids with her. She's waking them up and taking them with her. So,
what a wonderful roller coaster life for a young kid.
Gosh. So 9:30, I'm sitting watching this woman's house. 1:30 in the morning, she comes out of that house. Her boyfriend comes out of that house. 2 kids come out of that house. They get in the car and they take off.
I've done that with my kids.
Yeah.
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 When
you're going on a trip.
When I went to Ohio.
Yeah.
I made them all go. I made them all stay awake as long as you possibly can.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
so they would sleep the whole trip.
To bed, yeah. And I woke them up at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Loaded them in the truck.
A whole different thing.
They all went to sleep just like planned.
Yeah.
Lee T.
Yeah.
That was Lee T's plan.
Well, here's the thing. Anytime I'm traveling, I love traveling overnight, man.
Yeah.
Less traffic, less idiots on the road.
Cooler, it's nicer weather. Yeah.
You know, here come middle of July. I'm going up to Kentucky to see Shelby.
Absolutely.
And
I wish I could.
I will pull out.
I wish I could go with you.
Yeah,
I do.
I will pull out about probably about 1:30 in the morning, about the same time these folks did. But they weren't going on a trip to see somebody. We thought they were going to go to Graham. That through the investigation, they've got connections in Graham. We were back and forth with a police officer in Graham who knows this guy, the boyfriend, really well.
That's not a good thing.
No, it wasn't a friendly no very well. Well, anyway, we follow them around Wichita Falls, and then finally they get on 287 South. Well, that's not the way to get to Graham. So it's me.
No.
Me and my partner
You'll
Mindy.
never find it.
Yeah. Me and my partner Mindy, 2 different vehicles. We're set up in 2 different spots. Whenever you're doing surveillance, you want to have multiple vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you're following somebody for too long, you get caught. So you do these things, you know. And then another thing, I'm telling secrets. Another thing that you do is, I got fog lights on my truck. So when you get up and around the bend, I turn my fog lights off. Now I look different.
Yeah.
When I get behind you, Well, anyway, so we're on the phone, and Mindy and I, and like, well, where are we going? Maybe we're going to Henrietta. Yeah, probably going to Henrietta. Right past Henrietta. We're going to Bellevue. Bellevue. That's where druggies go. Right past Bellevue. All right, maybe Bowie.
Bowie, that's Wise County.
We wound up.
You don't want to be in Wise County.
That's Montague County.
Yeah, that's just
and then Decatur's Wise County.
Yeah, there you go.
We wound up in this absolute ghetto section of Fort Worth. They pulled up in front of this house, and we watched. Black male comes out, hands them something. They hand him something. They pull off, and head straight back. Drove all the way down there, and they start heading back.
Didn't even visit for a minute.
No. This was not a social visit.
This was more like a transaction.
This was a transaction. We are back and forth with multiple law enforcement agencies. We're talking to the cop in Bowie, or in Graham, he's got a vested interest at this point. Bowie PD, Montague County Sheriff's Office, Clay County Sheriff's Office. We get to Montague County, and by the way, I'm speeding through this thing. We get to Montague County, and they get pulled over, and gave the deputy consent to search the car. Why? And so we're back and forth.
I'm not giving anybody consent to search my car, and I don't do drugs at all.
No. Yeah, absolutely not.
My business. You can't get in my pockets. You can't go in my house. You can't go in my truck. I'm not going in yours.
I don't understand that. I just don't.
Me
but that's okay. I'm glad they did.
Sure.
And so we're talking to a.
Well, they were smarter than cops.
Yeah.
And they had it stashed so good.
That's right.
No way.
Oh, wait, just wait. You're gonna laugh. This, by the way, the pretext for pulling them over was that their car registration expired in March of 2023. Oh man. So anyway,
so you're riding dirty.
By the way, you're going to learn something
out of with tags out of date.
Yeah, you're going to learn something here in a minute. We're talking to a friend of ours who's Clay County deputy, and she's giving us updates.
I know that girl so
well.
You
do. Yeah,
I've known her since she was a little kid.
And she's laughing on the phone with us, and she says, "Okay, it just went from a consent search to a probable cause search, which means they found something." All right, he's in custody. She's in custody. They're calling the tow truck. So anyway, they call our client, the father. Montague County Sheriff's Office does, and says, "Hey, can you come get these kids?" So he got the kids
because mom's going to jail.
Yeah,
what a shame. God, how sad is this?
Oh, wait, just wait.
This is sad.
This
is heartbreaking, Clay.
Yeah, it is.
Absolute heartbreaking.
It is. They arrested both of them.
And poor baby.
For possession, manufactured delivery, unlawful possession of a firearm, and then on Monday, I got home. I told you this all started at 7 a.m. on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
I got home 11:30 Monday morning.
Yeah. It was.
I was up 28 hours straight.
You made it home before I did, and or after I did.
Yeah.
And I worked the night shift.
And but anyways, Monday, Dad took the kids to the ER, and they both tested positive for fentanyl.
Absolute heartbreaking. Dude.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, 10 and 7. So they tacked on 2 charges each of child endangerment. But here's the funny part. You're talking about how smart they were. They were smarter than the cops. Both of them, they found little baggies with little blue pills in them with M30 on it. It was pressed fentanyl. Pressed fentanyl.
Okay.
And they just everywhere. In her purse, in her bra, in his pockets, in his wallet. It's everywhere. On the floorboard of the car, there were little tinfoil packets with the M30 inside. That's how smart they were.
These aren't my pants. These are somebody else's pants. What in the world is in my pocket?
One of her charges is introducing contraband to a correctional facility because they were getting ready to strip search her, and they'd left the room, and she pulled it out of her pants and dropped it on the floor and kicked it under the bench. They got it on camera.
Everything's on camera.
Everything's on camera.
You can't pick your nose without knowing whether they come out with a winner or not. I mean,
here's one of the little dirty tricks that we used to play when I was a cop.
Dude,
let's say that I arrest 2 people, and I've got probable cause to arrest them, but they've got information that I want and I don't know. Put them both in the same vehicle and leave. They're both in the back of the cop car. They're handcuffed. Walk away. And you got a recorder running in the front seat.
Yeah.
All right, man. Okay, he didn't find the stash.
We're going to get this story
straight. Where are we going to hide this?
We got to get our story straight. Okay, listen. They're going to question us. They're going to separate us. They're going to question us. We got to get this business going.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man. So
that's when you speak in pig Latin.
Yeah. That'll confuse everybody.
Confuse them.
Oh, my goodness. So
I
told that story last night at church. I said, so now I want y'all to understand. Anytime you see me coming in here, my eyes are red and I'm yawning, and people say, "Why is Pastor Clay always so tired?" Now you know.
A lot of nights like that.
Yeah.
A lot of nights you're on surveillance. A lot of nights that I talk to you on the phone when you should be in bed.
Yeah, and I'm at work, and I'm doing personal protection or surveillance.
A lot of times it's overnight surveillance.
Well, what's funny
overnight protection.
You and I were back and forth Sunday night, and you sent me a message.
I still didn't get the taquito with cheese.
Yeah,
you sent me a picture of Whataburger.
yeah.
And my answer was taquito with cheese, please. Bacon and cheese. And I'm still waiting on that thing.
Yeah, I think it was probably about 3:00 in the morning. You sent me a text message, said, "You still on the job?" And I said, "Fort Worth." And you went, "What? Yeah. Holy crap!"
What? That escalated.
That was not exactly what was on the agenda.
But you know,
but that was a rescue mission, man.
In her defense,
in
his defense,
yeah.
that the drugs is an absolute demonic attack.
Oh, absolutely.
And
by the way, it was meth and fentanyl.
When you get on that,
it changes you.
It changes your DNA.
Yeah, you're a different person.
You're the places you would have never gone.
Yeah.
You're frequently at.
Yeah.
The things you would have never done, you do all the time without a second thought.
Let me tell you about this neighborhood.
The people that you associate with, the neighborhood, the people you associate with, you would have never dreamed of. You'd have been scared to be where you are at. And now you go there, and it's like, cheers.
And you're one of them.
Norm.
You're one of them.
Yes, and they're not your friends.
This neighborhood that we were in, keep in mind, we pulled into this neighborhood at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And
that's not good for y'all either.
No, there were, Mindy and I both, separate vehicles. Mindy and I both, the whole time we were in that neighborhood, had our guns in our lap and our hand on our gun. There were zombies, dude, covering the streets, man, all over the place.
It's an epidemic. It's
dude rode past me on a bicycle and just a blank look in his face. He wasn't paying attention.
And people are just
just
hanging and they're just doing this and
it was.
That's
the neighborhood.
That's
the neighborhood they took these two kids into at 3:30 in the morning.
And you know what is another epidemic in that whole group is child trafficking.
Oh, I know it,
and
man.
Them kids are what I hate saying it like this, but the ripe age that they are after.
She's the little girl 7.
See, that's
now. Praise God.
None of that went on.
We talked to the parents and we brought this up. And
that's a huge word. I mean, you see it all the time.
These kids are in counseling.
You see it all the time where these they're drug addict mothers and fathers selling or renting their kids.
Yeah, I know. Well, we worked a case where a woman sold her 13-year-old to a child molester. Sold. Slavery. Sold.
Yeah.
And he took her to Mexico.
God.
Yeah. But you know what? These kids are in counseling, and neither one of them have brought up anything about molestation.
That's good.
That is amazing.
That's way good.
And my prayer is this testing positive for fentanyl will not have any long-term effects on these kiddos.
No, yeah.
But this was a rescue mission.
Oh, no doubt.
And by the way, yesterday,
how long have them kids been accidentally using fentanyl?
Well,
how long have they been? You say they come home tired and beat down. Yeah, maybe it's part of it getting them up at 1 a.m. going somewhere. Maybe part of it is a after effect or side effect of they're smoking in the car or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, no doubt.
And are these kids?
They used to worry about secondhand smoke.
Yeah, are they on the verge of being? I mean, that's how kids become addicts.
Yeah. I told you you're going to learn something. Montague County in the PC affidavit, it's probable cause affidavit. It's a sworn declaration that the arresting officer has to present to the court in order to make the case go forward. In the PC affidavit, the deputy said that he checked the I forget exactly what it's called. It's a camera system that's set up on the highway, and he was able to plug in the license plate number of their vehicle and show that they had three other times in the last 2 weeks made that drive through Montague County.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, with the kids. That's why they were always exhausted when they got home.
So that's, they've been exposed to that smoke or whatever, however they've got secondhand exposed.
At least for 3 weeks.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Multiple times. What a shame.
But what's funny is, with my law enforcement career and what I do for a living now, I didn't know that they had cameras that they could plug your license plate in and see how many times you've gone by.
You know that Panda
That's wild. Yeah, they got license plate readers.
Out there.
Yeah.
I was asking Brian, I said, what's that new pole? He said, that's our new license plate reader. He was all excited.
Yeah.
I was like, cool.
Yeah.
I had a truck driver pull in last night.
Yeah.
Right when I was relieving the other guard, so it was about 10 till 11. And he's calling somebody over. I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, pulled in there, and I knew he didn't belong.
Yeah.
I tried to catch him early, and but he pulled up a little too far before I could get turned around and head over to him, and he was looking for the glass place.
Yeah.
I said, you're just a hair north, just a hair. And I showed him where he was supposed to go, and he's like, okay. and he wanted to turn around in the asphalt. And I am so glad that I was there because a lot of people don't know semis don't need to be on the asphalt.
Right.
You will ruin an asphalt driveway or not driveway, but parking lot. If you'll notice when you're driving around, you see different signs that say no semis. If you'll notice, there'll be room for semis, but it's an asphalt parking lot.
Right.
In Texas sun, it gets soft.
It gets super
You get in
soft.
there and just turning the wheels on an 18-wheeler is going to dig ruts in it. And you'll ruin it.
Right.
But so anyway, I told him, I said, I can't have you on the asphalt. He's like, oh, no, that's okay. It's okay. And I was going to take him all the way behind the building.
Right.
To turn around where the normal truckers go when they're making deliveries there. And I said, just follow me. I got all the way around I'm still on the east and west road back here in the very back east and west road. And I pulled over because I told him I was going to explain to him, hey, what we can do is we can either go up around the corner and take the very first turn and turn in there.
Yeah, you got plenty of room.
And then back into the drive. I said, there's a lot of room. That man, he's a driver.
Yeah.
As soon as I pulled over, I get out of the truck and he said, looks good. When he went to open that thing, right in that little small where that first bay door is.
Yeah.
On the administrative office.
Yeah.
He whooped it right in there, did him a broom, and then backed it up and stayed all on the concrete the whole time and went one back up.
Wow.
One back up and pulled on out of there. He said, thank you. I appreciate your help.
That's fantastic.
You a driver. He didn't drive for Swift.
No. Do you remember all the old trucking songs from back in the 70s?
Oh, a lot of them.
There was that one.
With the rubber duck and whatnot.
Yeah. There's that one, give me 40 acres and I'll turn this rig around.
Yeah. Boy, that ain't no kidding. Well, now I want to talk about something that I hope gets brought up in the presidential debate. I hope that pharmaceutical companies get brought up in debate. That's one of the questions I would ask.
Yeah.
I would ask, why is it that I can fall off playground equipment and I can sue the playground manufacturer? But if I get an adverse side effect that either maims me or kills me, I'm not allowed to sue any pharmaceutical companies.
Exactly.
Do you know that the jab, I don't think we're supposed to say it on whatever platform we're
Couldn't care less.
I know.
Anyway.
The so-called cure, whatever, the COVID vaccine and all its 92 boosters has caused more injury than all other vaccinations combined. And I looked, guy said that, and I kind of looked into it.
Right.
And I couldn't find anything that disputed it at all.
Even if that's not 100% accurate, the fact is we do know that there are horrific side effects.
And we don't even know how many have been accurately reported because the doctors are so on the pharmaceutical side because they get so much of their money and incentive from the pill company that if they OD on, nobody can sue.
Do you know the difference between Kyle Rittenhouse and Pfizer? Kyle's 3 shots were effective.
I read that somewhere the other day. They sure were. and you cannot sue. I ran into that issue. I didn't try to sue anybody, but I was told that one of the side effects.
I like that shirt.
Do you like that?
Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but I like that shirt. That is stylish.
I like it too.
All right, go on. Sorry, man.
One of the side effects I have from the mass amounts of medicine I've taken through all my knee troubles is I've got that, what do they call it? It's not tendonitis. It's something where your ears ring.
Oh, tinnitus.
Tinnitus.
Yeah.
And they ring constantly.
I have that too, but it's not because of medicine.
Mine is all because of pharmaceutical medicine. And my doctor, I'd said something. This was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'd said something to him. I said, Doc, I'm hearing like then it was only when it was quiet.
Yeah.
When it was completely quiet, like I'm hearing it now. I hear it all the time now.
Me too.
But when it was completely quiet, I could listen to this little ringing in my ears, and I'm like, what? At first I thought it was a noise. I thought it was something.
Right.
Something's doing something. Find it. And he told me, he said that's a side effect of the medicines that you've taken and the combinations of medicine.
Speaking of which, I just gave you a COVID test.
Oh, thank you. Y'all don't know what that means. If I get to smelling it, that means I'm COVID free.
That's right.
But and I said, well, that's kind of a rotten deal. Nobody told me about that. And he said, yeah. He said, you don't always get to know all the side effects. And he said, worse yet, he said, even if they're bad, you can't take nobody to court over it or do nothing about it.
So I have tinnitus, and I have had, 30 years. It was during the Gulf War.
Cannon fire, wasn't it?
Well, it's close.
So tank, wasn't it?
Well, so what caused this, and it's only in this ear. It's in my right ear. I've lost 90% of hearing in my right ear. And I was walking. So we were in northern Saudi Arabia. It was during the Gulf War, and I was walking from. I was doing convoy security for fuel and ammo going into southern Iraq. And I was walking from the fuel depot back to the tent for something, and a Scud missile hit and blew up about 400 yards to my right. Knocked me to the ground, blood gushing out of that ear.
Just busted it.
Yeah, and I haven't heard anything out of this ear since then, other than a constant high-pitched squeal.
Yeah, that ring.
And you know what's loudest? Is when you lay down to go to sleep.
Yes. When it gets quiet. When it gets quiet.
When you lay down to go to sleep, it just starts screaming.
It is really loud.
Yeah, it's 24/7.
Never quit.
And that's all I've heard out of this ear for the last 30 years.
See, I get it in both ears.
Yeah.
And he said, I'll have it for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And there's not anything you knew about it.
Well, the doctor told me, he said, when I complained about it one time, he said, we can sever that nerve and it'll go away. I'm not willing to do that. Because I still have 10% hearing in this ear. If something happened to this ear, I'd be stone cold deaf.
Yeah.
And, of course, I'm pretty close to that anyway. So.
Well, you're not unfunctionable. I mean, you function just fine in society.
Yeah.
You're aware of your surroundings. Makes you ultra aware if you can't hear but on one side.
Right.
And, you don't have a hard time communicating with people.
Right.
So, no, I wouldn't have it done either. I mean,
if
I've gotten used to it.
If I'm driving and you're sitting in the passenger seat, and you're talking to me, that's tough because this ear is useless. So
I've gotten used to my ringing. I don't have a lot of hearing loss. Of course, I didn't have damaged eardrum.
Right.
Mine is. I don't even know what goes on in there.
Well, when the VA evaluated me after I got out, and they looked in that ear, a hearing aid won't help. There's nothing but scar material inside that ear. That's how bad that was.
Dude, I watched a video last night. I'm supposed to be security out there.
Yeah.
And you want your security guy that if somebody came up, they'd be like, oh, we better have security over there.
Yeah.
Not that I'm big and bad by any stretch of imagination. But last night, if somebody would have pulled up, I'd have been an easy target because I had tears rolling down my eyes. And it was this baby that heard his mama's voice for the first time.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to tear up now. The reaction of that kid was the things that we take for granted every single day. The reaction of that kid was unbelievable. Just, and then just wanted mom, just grabbing mom. Dude, mom's losing it.
No doubt.
That's the first time. This baby was probably about 2 or 3.
Yeah.
First time he heard his mama's voice.
I heard a story one time about this kid. He was about 4 years old and had never spoken a word his entire life. And one day at breakfast, he's sitting at the table and mom puts his breakfast in front of him. He looks at her and says, toast is burnt. She says, you can talk? That first words out of your mouth is the toast is burnt? What the heck? He says, well, up until now, the toast has been okay.
I ain't had nothing to say.
Oh.
I want to show you what
10 grand.
This is part of our pharmaceutical problem.
Yeah.
This is $10,000.
But it's got a switch on it. It's pretty fancy.
$10,000. It's got a little foot thing goes in my shoe underneath my insole.
Yeah.
And it keeps it, which is a good feature because I don't.
It doesn't ride up and down.
And knee braces are horrible about doing it. You're constantly pulling them up. You see people that braces are constantly pulling and adjusting them.
Man, that thing looks more like a prosthetic than it does a knee brace.
And this is not carbon composite. This is plastic.
Yeah.
And this is aluminum. It does got some neat features in it. It locks so my knees don't collapse on me.
Right.
If you put it all the way up, it's completely free.
Yeah.
Just, it just steps. If you go halfway down, as you take a step forward, it won't work because I'm not wearing it.
Yeah.
But as it kind of works. As you take a step forward, it unlocks, and then when you get that step here, it's locked again.
Yeah.
So on your weak end of it, you're got that brace lock. And it does do a good job. It does function. But $10,000.
Yeah.
I see a couple $100 here.
How much did you pay for your first house?
Oh, dude. 21.
Yeah.
1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't put that much down on it. I think it was me and my first wife. I think we put down a couple $1,000.
Right.
And yeah, 21 or 22,000.
You had a house up here on West 3rd Street, didn't you?
Yeah, but I wasn't buying that one.
Okay.
But the one on Meadow is the one that was the first.
Yeah.
I think 22 or 24,000.
Isn't that crazy?
Like that. But that was a very long time ago.
Yeah, it was a little before the Dead Sea got sick.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the Dead Sea was fresh. But yeah, $10,000 for that, man. And thank God this is covered under workman's comp. And my cost was not anything, but still, it's going to cost me and everybody else.
Yeah, yeah.
That insurance company is not out any money.
Every 2 weeks, I get a paycheck, and there is this section of my paycheck of what I don't get. You think about this.
Well, you got to take care of the
immigrants,
politicians in Ukraine, and their pensions.
Oh, I know it.
And the shopkeepers that may have lost business, and the illegal migrants that need housing and medical. You got to do that. You got to also send a bunch of money to the mourners of anybody that was killed in the Iraq War. We got to send millions a week.
Yeah.
40 to 80 million.
And when you say that, when you talk about the mourners of people that were killed in the Iraq War, we're not talking about the Americans.
No, we're talking about the Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
Yeah. The enemy. The enemy. We're paying reparations to the enemy.
Yeah.
And
millions.
40 to 80 million a week. We're flying plane loads of cash over there. And there's some person that doesn't have workman's comp.
Right.
And they need this, and they can't get it because it costs $10,000.
Right.
10,000. That's not even right. I mean, it's not even like a real number. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
When they showed me the bill, I mean, I had to sign for the bill, and of course it says amount due today, 0.
Right.
But on this side of the bill, amount charged to the insurance company was a 98 and 98 something, 98.64 or something. $10,000.
I told you I'm gonna share a story with you, true story. This isn't a joke. True story. That kind of explains that.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit. 1976. We talked about our trip in 1976 a couple weeks ago. One of the stops that we made was the Hoover Dam. Do you remember that? We did the tour of the Hoover Dam. Well, so the Hoover Dam was built. And it has these giant turbines that the flowing water turns, and it produces electricity for a lot of that area. And one of those turbines was not functioning. And they sent engineers in there, and they tore the thing apart and put it back together. And it still didn't work, and they couldn't figure it out. And so they reached out to the engineer that was a part of the initial construction. This dude's in his 90s at this point, right? And
consultant time.
Yeah. And so they flew him out, and he walked down around that turbine, and he put his ear up to these panels, and he listened, and he did stuff like that. And finally, he takes out a piece of chalk, and he draws an X on a panel. He says, "You got a bad relay behind that panel," and he leaves. Then he sends them, interestingly enough, a bill for $10,000. And they respond to him and said, "Could you please itemize this bill?" And he sent it back an itemized bill. It says, "Drawing an X mark in chalk, $1. Knowing where to draw the X mark, $9,999.
There you go.
There was a lot of research, development, skill. I mean, think about your appointment when you went in to be measured for that and fitted for that before they constructed that. That thing is form fitted to your body.
Yeah, you know how they do it?
If I put that on, it wouldn't work for me.
Yeah, you know, me and you could make the same thing.
I have no doubt.
We absolutely could if we had the equipment.
Yeah.
And you know how they made it? He wrapped me in casting material.
Yeah.
Sit there and let it get hard.
Cut it off.
And
he had a mold.
Send it to somebody else.
Yeah, had a mold.
That somebody else printed that bad boy with a 3D printer.
Yeah.
They put the mold that they sent in a computer. The computer took measurements of it, just like you do on your little laser deal.
Right.
And they transferred over and hit a button. And it says start and go. They've got $30 worth of material here. I'm serious.
I agree.
$30 worth of material here, and maybe $100 worth of labor, and you got to ship it somewhere. It's because it's medical.
Yeah, that's it.
Go buy a move around medical toilet, like a bedside toilet.
Yeah.
Go buy one. I had to, and they're $60 or $80.
Yeah.
Go buy a camping toilet.
Yeah.
They're $29.95.
True.
They both got the same function.
Yeah.
That's medical.
Yeah.
Anything medical. Unbelievable.
Agreed.
Look at your itemized bill leaving the emergency room.
Oh, yeah.
See what Tylenol cost you. Band-Aids.
Yeah.
So they charge you for a whole box of gloves because they had to use one.
Yeah.
And that box of gloves, you can go down to Harbor Freight or anywhere, not just Harbor Freight, anywhere, and buy that box of gloves for, $8.99.
Yeah.
And you're going to pay $30 or $40 from the hospital.
Right.
The medical is just out of control.
It is. I agree.
And we're stuck with it.
But they knew where to draw the X mark.
They knew. I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. And they know that
there's a lot of hands in it too.
Yeah,
a lot of hands.
It's not 10 grand hands.
No, it's not.
They're just, you can't convince me of it. I dig that. That guy also had 80 years experience.
Yeah,
doing what he was doing.
That's right.
I guarantee you, the kid that did this is probably 25.
Yeah.
The doctor I go to is about 25.
Yeah.
He's a good doctor,
yeah.
and he knows his business. He knows what's up.
But
the years of experience. There's a thing going around where a guy wants a porch built.
Yeah.
Calls a contractor. Contractor comes out and he says, "I can do it." Measures up, tells the guy $2,000. The guy's like, "Oh God." He said, "Well, I kind of done some figuring on my own." He said, "But I don't think the job's worth about $800." And he said, he told him, he said, "Well, I'll tell you what, I'll teach you how to show you how to do it for $800." And the guy was like, all right, cool. And he said, "Well, I can only do it on Tuesday morning because I'm busy throughout the other week.
Yeah.
Doing my other work that's
right.
going to pay." And the guy was like, "Well, Tuesday's not good for me, but I guess I can take off work and I can meet you Tuesday." He said, "Okay." He said, "You're going to need to buy some lumber and you're going to need to buy some tools." And he started listing out these things.
Yeah.
And before he got said and done, the guy's like, "You know what? Maybe it's better you just do it."
Yeah.
yeah, no
exactly.
Doubt.
Exactly.
Tackle it on your own all you want. I went through that a lot with being a contractor.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
A lot. You would give people a price and be like, "Man, that's kind of high. Do it yourself."
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Right.
I would just do it myself. That's why I do this, because
Yeah.
I know how to do this stuff and I do it myself.
Right.
Getting this popcorn ceiling knocked down.
Yeah.
That's a dirty, messy job unless you know what you're doing.
Yep.
If you know what you're doing, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
And you leave me for about an hour and I've got an entire room done clean, and it's like I didn't even move your furniture. I said, "Well, dude, I've done it 700 times." You know?
Yeah. You knew where to draw the X mark.
I knew where to draw the X. But but I don't know. I've seen some of our congressmen bring this up, and Josh Hawley brings this up quite a bit about we need to get all the lobbyists and bureaucrats out of Congress and out of the pockets.
Yeah.
Because they're voting for the stuff that makes them money and they can invest in, which is insider trading. I don't care how you slice it.
Oh, 100%.
But then they don't care that what falls back on the consumer, which is us, and that's how we end up with $10,000 knee brace. It ought to be about $250. That's pretty high in my opinion.
Yeah,
that's like golly, but it's affordable,
right?
Especially if you're in the need.
Well, like
we
you
end
said,
up
somebody
with a
who
toilet
doesn't
seat
have
for the military for how much? Like
you said, somebody that doesn't have insurance that needs that can't have it,
right?
And
when I'm having a bad knee, I'm not wearing it now, and I probably should. I probably should wear it every day. But I wear it more often than you think because our legs get tired, and I can't afford a fall.
No,
I just cannot, and I know that. And I'll start getting fatigued.
Well,
and I put that thing on, and that's the difference between
where
me
you're
walking
at
around
now with your knee. you're not getting another replacement.
Well, I don't know.
You've lost so much bone.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any more to.
No.
You run out of rusted fender, you got to get a new fender.
That's right.
And they don't have no more rusted fender to cut off.
Yeah.
To keep repairing. But if I didn't have it, it would mean not being able to be mobile.
Right.
I couldn't get up and walk to the daggum mailbox. I couldn't go.
Wouldn't be able to take care of Brandy.
That's right. I'd have a hard time taking care of Brandy. I'd be on a walker in my house.
Yeah.
Without the brace.
Right.
And that's somebody that doesn't have the insurance.
Yeah.
And then this thing is $10,000.
Man, I'll tell you what, there is nothing that will make a person feel old like the first time they have a doctor walk in a room that's 10 years younger than them.
Oh, I know. I relish the days of my doctor all old. And you think, man, that old doctor right there.
That wisdom.
I need to see your ID.
Yeah.
I'm checking IDs. The last time I went to the doctor, he was 12.
Yeah. Well,
I asked him, I said, you did hit puberty already, right? You can drive. He said, I get that a lot. I said, okay, Doogie Howser. And if you don't know who that is, you're too young.
Yep. The good news is Dr. Gerhard Molly is not a 12-year-old.
No, he's not. And he is, man, he is a master of his craft.
I'm telling you.
Let's go something completely different. I do want to talk about the Democrats lately that've been getting in trouble. There's some
Jamal Bowman lost his race.
Did you see his rant and rave?
Yes.
He looked like I very
seldom. Pull fire alarm.
Very seldom do I comment on that stuff. But my comment was, "You mad, bro?" Not are you mad? Just you mad,
bro?
But anyway, I
saw
a woman, and she had an electric violin. Like electric guitar?
Yeah.
And she played, you're not a huge rock fan, but you'll know this one. She played, she went off with some, I'm drawing a blank.
All right. It's your story.
I know.
Come on, man. Fill it in.
Oh.
AC/DC.
No. Van Halen.
There we go.
Where he goes
Eruption.
I was just fixing it. Yeah. She played Eruption on the violin.
Oh, wow.
She had the bow for the violin. She's eating this thing up, and I mean playing it perfectly.
Huh.
If Eddie Van Halen was still alive, he'd be like, man, you got to be kidding me. And then
did she have the cigarette?
No,
in the bridge of the violin.
Cigarette. But when
for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about,
when he goes into all the finger chords up and down it, she's doing that on the
Eddie
violin.
Van Halen in the video where he made Eruption famous. He's got a cigarette stuck in the string
between the chords, between the string. But she absolutely does a masterful job.
Right?
I mean, I was blown away.
Oh wow,
blown away. And then the next video I watched was another woman, different girl, and she has an electric harp.
Oh wow!
And played Thunderstruck.
Yeah. Have you seen
that? Was impressive.
Have you seen these two guys? They're from Croatia, and they go by the two cellists, and they play cello. And they have some of the most brilliant videos, some of the best videos.
I have to look them up.
I
enjoy them.
They did Thunderstruck, and what's funny is they start off, and they're dressed in these Middle Ages aristocrat clothing, and there's this crowd of people all dressed like that with the powdered wigs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they start off playing this classical music, and then all of a sudden they just go off and they start playing Thunderstruck. And all of the adults in the crowd are like, and all the kids are headbanging. And they're brilliant.
I've seen Thunderstruck played on the bagpipe.
Yeah, I saw that too. Dude had flames shooting out of it.
I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah,
I didn't get the flame one.
Oh man, so you got cheated.
I'll have to go back and look.
By the way, I want to give a shout out real quick.
All right.
This ball cap that I'm wearing was a gift from a lady that comes to our church, and she's one of our viewers. Her name's Brenda, and this was my birthday gift. And I just want to say thank you to Brenda for that. Love it, absolutely love it.
And this ball cap you can get on the Mud store.
That's right.
On Etsy.
Oh man.
For $89.99. No, I don't know.
$20.
Well, you knew where to draw the X.
That's right. And this is my newest product that I'm selling.
I really like those. I really do.
That is
them up this
clean
morning.
and dirty for your dishwasher. Got a little magnet on the back.
Or if your children had, injury and they got a metal plate, you can put them on them.
$12 for those on the Etsy. So.
That's pretty neat. I looked at them this morning and almost used it for a coaster, and then I looked at it and realized that's not the coaster I normally use.
No. Oh, man. So tonight...
how do you really think this is going to go tonight? Honestly, I know we're playing around and we cut up a lot, but honest and true, how do you think that CNN, the Clinton News Network, and
fake tapper who called Trump Hitler is one of the moderators.
How do you think this is truly going to go?
I think that Donald Trump is going to defeat 3 opponents tonight.
You know what I would...
2 moderators and creepy Joe Biden.
You know what I would like to see?
What's that?
I would like to see at an hour before the program starts, 30 minutes before the program starts, Donald Trump call him up and say, you know what, never mind. And then do a
town hall.
A town hall on X. Have it on X, and every viewer that CNN thought they were going to get would be tuned into X.
Right.
And it would just blow up.
I get what you're saying, but
because of the unfairness of it, it just aggravates me.
You know what, though?
They talk about their whole Democratic platform is all about inclusion.
Nobody's above the law.
And nobody's above the law, and we got to be equal and all this.
Right.
Whatever. All this panty waist Nancy stuff. And then but everything they pull is contrary to what they say.
Yeah. Oh,
everything they do. Trump's going to be a dictator. Do you know that Biden has enacted more executive
orders
that bypasses Congress than any other president? And you can fact check that all you want.
In his first 100 days, there were 70 of them.
You see Elizabeth Warren's interview talking about the everything is Trump's fault.
Yeah.
Well, Trump stopped us. Biden removed all of our border protection the first day. The first day.
The Remain in Mexico policy, the Title 42, all of it. And
then look what happened. This was intentional. This is intentional. Now, you know what the new numbers are? 20 to 30 million.
Yeah.
20 to 30 million that has come across the border that we don't know nothing about.
And the thing is,
20 to 30 million.
The numbers that they report are the contacts that they've had.
Clay,
they don't know the gotaways.
Right. They could occupy cities.
Yeah.
All by themselves.
They are occupying cities.
All by themselves.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's I don't know. It's just so aggravating. And how anybody that really cared about this country could do that. You know I love my wife.
Yeah.
You know I love my wife more than I love the breath itself.
Mm-hmm.
What you would question me if all of a sudden I was doing things that were harming my wife.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, we have a limited income.
Yeah.
And if I started, I moved 30 people into our house.
Yeah.
And then started feeding them.
Yeah.
And then medically taking care of them. Brandy would suffer.
Yeah.
So would I.
Yeah.
But I did it. So who cares if I suffer? But her quality of life would suffer because you can only take so much out of the coin pot.
That's right.
And we're just printing more money.
That's exactly it.
My great-grand LaDasha is going to have to pay for that. Sorry, I know I'm going to pay for that. I love you, baby girl. I love you.
Oh, man. Well, I'll tell you what, man. Talking about that, we brought up taxes earlier. And you think about this. You go out every night and you work a shift. And you earn a fair wage for what you do.
And I get a very unfair wage in the end.
Yeah, yeah.
I earn a fair wage.
You earn a fair wage. And then the government takes from that money what they deem to be an appropriate amount. What's left over, you go to the grocery store, you buy something, you pay taxes on what you bought.
Pay taxes on my fuel. Pay taxes on everything. Then I paid the house off. I worked hard, and it took a lot of my money, and I paid my house off.
It's paid for. But you still have a monthly bill.
I still have a monthly bill.
Yeah.
I still pay property taxes.
Right.
And, school and county taxes.
And then let's say you buy a vehicle,
Your taxes.
Every year you got to pay taxes on it.
Even though you paid for it.
Yeah.
And it's
so
done.
You're being taxed on the money that you've been taxed on to pay taxes for the taxes that you didn't pay taxes for when you bought the taxes.
And I was taxed on my income that I earned from my job.
Yeah.
Then I go give it to the grocery store, and the grocery store gets taxed on the same money.
Yeah.
That money's already been taxed. It was this one right here. You already got some of this. Now watch, I'm going to hand it to them. They go, give us some more.
And then let's say that same person passes away and leaves that money to their children. That gets taxed.
All the money that's already been taxed, and they already earned clean, and it's there. I watched the illustration,
and yet,
they compare us getting paid and paying taxes to pizza delivery.
Oh wow!
And you order your pizza, and it comes out the oven. There's a whole pizza,
right?
And right off the bat, the guy that's boxing it, he cuts the center out, and slides it out, and scoots the pizza in. And then as he walks it out, and he's going to you, he's trying to get to you, and as he's going, all the little government entities reaching in and taking a bite. When you get it, this pizza's just chewed up and partially there.
Right.
So, there you go.
Uh-huh.
I think it's a Bitcoin commercial, but it illustrates perfectly what happens to your paycheck.
Yeah.
What happens to your dollar. I hear Trump has got a different plan for income tax.
Yes. Well, and he's got a plan to eliminate taxes from tips.
Yes.
And I love that.
I do too. I think it's criminal that you can pay somebody less than
$1.90 something,
less than the minimum anything. But that $1.90, $2.20. Girls at Denny's making like $2.20 an hour.
Yeah,
I'm not getting out of bed for $2.20.
No,
I can go pick up cans.
It's all about the tips.
I can go pick up cans and pecans.
You know what it is? It's gambling. It's gambling.
Yeah.
These people that work in the service industry in restaurants, they are betting, they're wagering that they're going to have generous customers.
They're wagering their livelihood.
Yeah.
The livelihood of their children. Yeah. Whether their children's going to eat.
They're making $1 something an hour plus tips. And they're wagering.
They willingly go to work every day for nickels.
And they smile.
Boy, I'll tell you.
Mindy and I were out now working yesterday.
Tip thing is getting out of control.
Oh, yeah.
If I stand at the counter and order my food, I'm not tipping you. I'm not tipping you.
Yeah.
If I have to sit out in a lobby and wait for you to call my number and I come back, I'm not.
Right.
There's not a tip here.
Right.
First off, you're getting paid minimum wage.
Yeah.
And no, you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything at all.
But if you're coming to my table, making sure my tea glass is full, if you're bringing my food to me, if you're checking on me,
you're there if I need something.
Mindy and I were out working yesterday, and we stopped, grabbed something to eat, and we went to Cracker Barrel, and buddy of mine, you know Kevin Rowe, Kevin calls it honky bucket. Cracker Barrel,
I call it the racist bucket. It's the racist bucket.
So anyway, we were at Cracker Barrel.
We ought to be mad about that.
And we got.
Why are we mad about that? Let's go set something on fire. I'm just kidding.
So we were at the honky bucket, and this had this young waitress, brand new. Her name was Diana, and man, she was phenomenal. She was friendly. She was witty. You know, I crack my jokes that I do. One of my favorite little jokes to do to these young waitresses is, when they say, "Okay, is it just the two of you?" I said, "Well, they're parking the bus. The other 40 will be in a minute."
Yeah.
And you see that shock on their face.
Deer in the headlight look.
And so I pulled that one on her, and she giggled, and then she came over to take our order, and and she says, Mindy ordered, and then she looks at me, and I said, "Yeah, I want the all-you-can-eat Alaskan king crab legs and the porterhouse steak." And she giggled. She was good.
Right.
She was really good. Kept my tea glass full. Checked on us, not too much, but just enough. And at the end of the meal, whenever I have a server that is just really, really good, I'll hunt the manager down.
Say something.
Yeah, because they always hear the complaints.
That's it. I just want to say, they sure enough people to hunt that manager down to say, well, my tea glass got empty.
Yeah. She
may have had 15 other customers,
right,
and 3 of them were outrageous or whatever.
Yeah. But I always do that. I always do that. If I get it, frankly, if I get sufficient service,
Right.
I'm going to brag on them.
Yeah.
Because
they do their job.
And you know what I like about Cracker
job.
Barrel? This is cool. When you brag on a waitress or a waiter at Cracker Barrel, they all got that little radio, and that manager will punch that button and say, "Attention, everybody! Kudos to Diana."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's so cool.
I did not know that.
They publicly recognize them to all the staff right there on the spot.
See, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Absolutely.
And see, they earn in that tip, but
yeah.
And then for them, you get the tip, like you said, they're gambling.
Yeah,
they're gambling on whether the customers. And in today's economy,
yeah, it's hard.
It's hard to be generous. It's very hard to be generous.
Well, going back to Jimmy's Egg, my $13 meal is now $22.
Yeah, it's hard being generous. You used to lay the 20 down,
and that was a $7 tip.
That was a good tip.
Yeah,
and now it doesn't even cover the meal.
No,
you got to still dig in the back pocket and get a little more.
But it's the best economy in the history of our country.
Yeah.
And
inflation is on the something.
There you go.
Hello. Okay. All right, Mike. Sorry, I had to get that. That was the mother-in-law.
Right, and make sure it's not an emergency.
Make sure nothing's wrong. Yeah, can't never snub.
My brother Lloyd is on call 24/7.
You just never can tell.
So, have you seen the list of companies that are closing their doors? I mean, there is a nationwide list.
Have you heard about the big truck company in Texas? 2,500 employees. They were bought out.
Oh, wow.
They were bought out from somebody in North Carolina. And now I don't know all the facts. I didn't have time this morning to really dig into it and see what. But according to what this guy was releasing, and it was like, it looked like news release or whatever. They bought the company out 3 years ago. And they have 500 truckers and 2,000 employees.
And they're closing doors.
And like all of a sudden, shut the doors. And not only shut the doors, but these people that have worked for them are now having to fight for their final paychecks.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. And some company out of North Carolina is doing it.
And you know what? There's this list. It's retail stores, big names, that are closing their doors. Red Lobster shutting down 500 restaurants across the nation.
We're going to lose ours.
Yeah. JCPenney.
Oh, yeah.
They're closing the mall.
Yes.
They're shutting down the whole mall.
Yeah, because they can't get tenants.
Yeah.
They can't occupy. It's like 10% occupied.
Yeah.
And you can't run it. They're losing millions of dollars all the time because just the electric bill in that place.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt, man.
They can't cover utilities, the mall itself.
The best economy in the history of the nation.
Man, it's getting rough.
It is. And
it's not going to get better until we have some drastic changes.
It's not going to get better, Lord. It's not going to get better.
Our economy could, because that's worldly. That's worldly.
It's not going to get better.
No, I don't think it is.
No.
I don't think it is. I think our corruption is so deep and so awful, they can't stop.
How many times have we had this exact conversation, between now and November?
Yep.
The kimchi's going to hit the fan.
Let me give you a scenario. Guess who's going to be with the Biden tonight? Gavin Newsom.
Really?
Supposed to be with Biden tonight. What I hear.
Interesting.
And
why?
I don't know. A coach, kind of.
Huh.
I don't know.
Speaking of which, the last week, Biden has been at Camp David going through a debate boot camp.
Rehearsing. I know.
Isn't that funny?
And CNN brought that up. They said, Donald Trump's not even prepared.
He's out stumping. He's out.
He said Joe Biden is focused and focused on this debate. He's trying to put 3 words together. And Joe.
I guarantee you they got an IV in him pumping all kinds of stuff.
Trump tweeted that on X. I want a drug test. He said, I'll do it now.
Yeah.
I'll do it every week. I'll do it anytime you want it. I would love to see our president and vice president take a drug test.
Right. Oh,
Most every job in America, you got to take a drug test. Why not the leader of the free nation?
Right.
The one in charge of the nuclear football.
Yeah.
That's the one we shouldn't make sure that that person, whoever it is,
right,
it ought to be able to be clean.
Well, you know what?
And if Joe's on enhancing drugs, we ought to be able to know about that.
Performance enhancing drugs for president. There you go.
Yeah, he's juicing,
and he is. But you look at what Trump did. Towards the end of his term, voluntarily took a cognitive test, just to shut up his critics.
Yeah,
and aced it. Absolutely aced it.
And Joe don't know how to spell test.
No,
he couldn't write test down on a piece of paper.
And by the way,
but that's all deep fakes
tonight. Oh, cheap fakes.
Cheap
fakes.
Get it straight. Sorry,
cheap fakes.
Cheap fakes.
Tonight,
don't believe your eyes.
Tonight, the rules are no notes, no teleprompters, no sitting down for 90 minutes.
He's gonna have an earbud or something.
They're going to cheat.
This guy.
That's what they do.
I don't know this guy's name. I know you've seen him. He talks a whole lot about like what we talk about. He has a lot of people on the show. He always wears a beanie, like
Tim Pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And anyway, he said that he threw this scenario out months ago. He said, just throwing it out. He said, let's say something happens to Biden, like he has a heart attack.
Right.
Gavin Newsom runs in.
Yeah.
And does perform CPR, even if it's not real. Performs CPR and saves the
life of the president of the United States.
And that's all you'd see from now until they ride on that.
Yeah.
And Newsom would be up there. How's it feel? How's it feel to be rushed in? That you was the one that rushed in and saved our president. Yeah. And then maybe he doesn't get better enough, and Newsom takes over.
Yeah. Yeah,
and he's always been a candidate anyway.
Well, here's the thing, and
he's done such a good job with California.
Oh, stellar,
wonderful!
Stellar.
Look at their homeless men; they're making killer money on the homeless shelter.
I know it, man.
They're buying these homeless shelters for $3,000 and selling them for $830,000.
Yep,
that's awesome. What a turnaround!
Capitalism.
Except it's the taxpayers that have to pay. Yeah. No choice.
Right.
Have to pay. It's not really capitalism. It's kind of stealing.
Yeah, it is.
I call it stealing.
It's armed robbery because it's at the point of a gun.
Well, yeah, because if you don't, that's where you'll end up, is at the end of a gun.
Absolutely.
It'll be something to do with the badge that is going to be there to arrest or whatever they got to do.
Yeah. Or if you're in Arkansas, they'll just come in and kill you.
Yeah, if you're high up somewhere.
Yeah. Well, brother.
Or somebody says Kahler's red flag, that's we're gonna get surveillance. Do you remember them passing that? Do you know why they passed it? Do you remember it didn't pass? The whole FISA surveillance law.
Yeah.
The wiretapping without a warrant. It didn't pass the first time.
Right.
Then they made a revision in it, and it went right on through.
Isn't that amazing?
Do you know what the revision was? Members of Congress
are
they're exempt without a warrant. And he's like, oh, okay, that'll work.
Yeah, Jamal Bowman was real glad to hear that.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. But how?
I know it.
Tell me you're crooked without telling me you're crooked. Yeah. Tell me the corruption is so deep that you just reek of it without just out and out telling me.
I'm telling you.
I mean, look at the things they vote on,
Yeah.
Hey, what does it tell us in the Bible about where your heart is, where your gold is? That's where your heart is, or something to that effect.
Yep.
And that's where you know where their heart is.
Yep.
By the way they act and the way they vote and how they conduct themselves.
You ain't gonna believe this.
It is not on our side.
You ain't gonna believe this.
What?
Our time's up.
Is it really?
It is.
Well, I got to go pick Miss Ellen's car up and take it up to the shop and see why the check engine light.
There you go. Well, brother, give us your tagline.
Take time to be kind. It just doesn't take nothing at all. You never know what somebody else is going through, and you never know. Just a smile.
That's it. Go and hunt down that manager and tell him what a good job you're doing.
There you go. There you go. Everybody complains, and they hear it a lot. Anybody in any kind of service hears a lot of complaints.
Yep.
And I'm dealing with customer service with my electric bike, and I've had phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I wrote a review to their company.
Yeah.
Just about their customer service, not their bike.
Right.
Couldn't be happier.
Yeah. Amazing.
Couldn't be happier.
Well, folks, whether you like what we're doing or not, we still invite you to like, comment, and subscribe. Help us beat this algorithm that's
and hopefully
pushing us down.
Hopefully next week I'll have a goodie to show off.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Don't
that's
say
right. That. I won't. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I know, me too.
I just hope you don't lose the tool in a boating accident between now and then.
Well, that's the one I rescued and it shrunk, remember?
That's right. Got it wet.
Got it wet and it shrunk.
Folks, we appreciate y'all. Love you guys. Again, as always, I pray that our little silliness here has been a blessing to you. And listen, y'all, I've got to throw this out there. We talk about what's going on in our nation and in our world, and it's bleak.
And a lot of times we sound a little different.
Yeah, we do. But you know what? My hope is not in Donald Trump. My hope is not in Washington, D.C.
No.
My hope is not in any government. My hope is in God.
That's it.
And you know what? Our world is going to hell in a handbasket, but by God,
it's supposed to.
We're children of God.
And it's supposed to.
And
read the end of the story. We win.
Now, thanks be to God who always leads us in triumph in Christ.
That's right. Always.
God bless you guys. We love y'all.
Back in the Old West, this horse walked into this saloon, walked up to the bar. The bartender looked at him and said, "Why the long face?"